Recording in progress.
I'm Damaris Debet, the founder of Asali by Chebet. I started it back in 2022 while I was still in campus, and since then it has grown really immensely. First of all, I'm a Shista. I graduated this year, May. The program really helped me with skills, and also Absa has helped me with finances, since SMEs and finances is really tough. But they have helped me finance my business and it has grown. I'm really grateful. I like Absa because they walk with you through the journey. No matter how small, for us, the youth entrepreneurs, we always fear banks because we don't know anything about it. But for Absa, they partner with you, they walk with you throughout your business.
Ladies and the few lucky gentlemen in the room, good morning and welcome to the Absa Inspire Me Conference 2024.
Let this conference be more than just an event. Let it be a catalyst for your next big leap. Engage actively, ask questions, share your experiences, and most importantly, support one another.
So you know it takes one person with one voice to say, let's take a gamble on her. How are you using your voice to be a waymaker for someone else?
Consistent, competent people of character will build or break your business.
Ladies and the few lucky gentlemen in the room, good morning and welcome to the Absa Inspire Me Conference 2024.
Let this conference be more than just an event. Let it be a catalyst for your next big leap. Engage actively, ask questions, share your experiences, and most importantly, support one another.
But you know, it takes one person with one voice to say, let's take a gamble on her. How are you using your voice to be a waymaker for someone else?
Consistent, competent people of character will build or break your business.
Ladies and the few lucky gentlemen in the room, good morning and welcome to the Absa Inspire Me Conference 2024.
Let this conference be more than just an event. Let it be a catalyst for your next big leap. Engage actively, ask questions, share your experiences, and most importantly, support one another.
But you know, it takes one person with one voice to say, let's take a gamble on her. How are you using your voice to be a waymaker for someone else?
Consistent, competent people of character will build or break your business.
Ladies and the few lucky gentlemen in the room, good morning and welcome to the Absa Inspire Me Conference 2024.
Let this conference be more than just an event. Let it be a catalyst for your next big leap. Engage actively, ask questions, share your experiences, and most importantly, support one another.
But you know, it takes one person with one voice to say, let's take a gamble on her. How are you using your voice to be a waymaker for someone else?
Consistent, competent people of character will build or break your business.
Ladies and the few lucky gentlemen in the room, good morning and welcome to the Absa Inspire Me Conference 2024.
Let this conference be more than just an event. Let it be a catalyst for your next big leap. Engage actively, ask questions, share your experiences, and most importantly, support one another.
But you know, it takes one person with one voice to say, let's take a gamble on her. How are you using your voice to be a waymaker for someone else?
Consistent, competent people of character will build or break your business.
Ladies.
My name is Wambui Mugonjogu, one of the director at Waterline Hardware and Tools. Challenge ya kuran hardware as a young person ilikuwa ku get customer I believe in me. the location Kitengela because it's a fast growing town. Tunataka ukiingia uone aya wako na kila kitu. Hiyo kuget kila kitu, kuna point ilifika tukaona we need finances kustock hiyo duka. Na that's when a friend akatuambia, by the way, Absa hupatiana unsecured loan. Hapo ndipo tukaenda Absa. We told them the plan we had for a business, na kitu ya kwanza wakatupatia overdraft. We were able to expand the shop. Kitu inanibamba na Absa Bank ni niko na relationship manager. So nikiwa na any issue with my account, she'll assist me directly. The moment Absa uko na relationship manager, anything new that suits you watakuletea.
Can I use my card?
You can. So right now we are doing the tap and pay. I was introduced to MobiTap by my RM. Unapata ni app kwa my phone that customers can just tap, bora simu iko na NFC, and the transaction goes through. I'd recommend Absa MobiTap Pay. One, it's easier to use. I don't need to work with a normal phone and my PDQ machine. Kitu ingine, it's cheaper to me and it's faster to the customer. Na pia at the end of the day, anything that was transacted, debited or credited, napata hapo. I have a dream. My dream is to venture into the real estate market. I want to build houses, sell them, and also want to become a direct importer and direct distributor of hardware materials across East Africa. Whatever spaces you feel you can't fit in, whatever roles you feel you can't play, whatever businesses you feel you can do it. You just need someone who believes in you and you'll do it.
Hi, ladies. If you're still shopping, please make your way into the room. Good afternoon, ladies. Lunch was good, wasn't it? Lunch was good. Speaking like she had more than 2 glasses of juice. But I can't eat when I'm working. I don't know that you're like me at all. I want to tell you a fantastic story about us in this room. So Green Stem Products and Giba Naturals. So Giba Naturals are situated in Ghana. Am I right? And Green Stem Products are situated in Nairobi. Their 2 stalls are next to each other out here. So what happens is, one of you goes up and wants to buy something from Giba Naturals. But the way we are all, it's either cash or nothing, and most women didn't come carrying cash. Green Stem Products is a Kenyan product. And the minute this lady from Ghana is almost turning away customers, the lady from Kenya says, it's okay, I'll receive payment on your behalf, and I'll give you cash tomorrow. I love these 2 people. Green Stem Products, please visit their stand, and Giba Naturals as well. She's got shea butter products. I mean, they're in totally different spaces. And one just tells the other, that's all right, I'll sort you out. Don't you worry. And I find that is fascinating. As I get ready to start, I want to know what stood out for you this morning. I'm still very hooked on Esmeralda's competent people and saying goodbye. You know, you don't have to do business with everybody. That's a big one for me. I am going to, I've got microphones here. I'm going to do my 10,000 steps. I'll have lost so much weight by tomorrow, it won't even be funny. However, I just want to know, and what I'm going to do is, because the last time I spoke to people in the middle here, so I'm going to go to the outer parts, and I'm going to start from there to just know, so far this morning, what did you learn? And what does it mean for you? So I'm coming. Working? Fantastic. So where can I go? Oh, really? No, I don't want Absa people. Are you Absa? Fantastic. Listen to the way I treat my host. Here we go. You'll be
fired. Good afternoon. I'm a sign language interpreter, so you have most likely seen me there. What stood out for me was the need for mentors. that one was just mind blowing because sometimes in business, I'm also in business, in the fashion business, and sometimes you want to keep it to yourself because you don't want people to steal your idea. You do not know how to, and so the need for mentors stood out for me.
A clap for that, a need for mentors. I'm going to take another. There was a young lady over there. I will come to you. I'll be on the way back to the stage. Okay. Hey. You've got your laptop out. What are you doing?
Hi, and thank you so much for coming all those steps. Let's lose weight. So I'm Purity Chege. I work at Abojani Investment. We are a financial advisory space. And so what has stood out for me this morning are the challenges that women face in business. Women are afraid of the numbers. Women are afraid of tech. And so just being in this space and getting to interact with the women on the ground has been such a life-changing experience for me.
Women are afraid of numbers. Okay, we've got to look at numbers. Sometimes we're too scared. There was a lady who was there. Anybody here? Here we go.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mercy from Milele Designs. I do interiors, I do homes. And one of the things that stood out for me today is just to know that my customers also have to be competent, that I can say no to them because I make high-end furniture, so not everybody can be my customer. That really made me feel good. Yeah.
I love the way that gave you life. Incidentally, and I'm not bragging, I didn't recognize you there for a moment, but you've done my furniture. Yes. I am due a makeover. Can we talk? Oh, yes. Okay. I'm due a makeover. Yeah? Can we talk? Fantastic. I didn't even know I'd see her here. You see the way I'm telling her, can we talk? I'm hoping I'll pay 50%. Woo! Okay. So, who was sulking that I passed them? Niwewe? Oh, no, she's here. Nitarudi. Ntenda wapi?
Thank you for coming back. My name is Gladys Soy. I'm in security service. And I work with people. So what stood out for me today is that I need to work with people who are consistent, competent, and people of character. And I like the part whereby I can say no to some business. Thank you.
Yes, I love that. And in security, consistent. Yes, consistent people. So here's what I would like to do, because we will do this again. I just wanted to make sure you're all well. Really, Cape Town, you're going to make me walk all the way there? Okay, Cape Town. No, not you. Her. She looks like my friend from Cape Town, sorry. Could you just, run the mic down to her? She'll grab it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Naum Mamaru. I am from South Africa, in Limpopo. Yes, what I've learned today is a collaboration. Yes, as a fellow African entrepreneur, I believe in collaboration and mutual growth. Thank you.
So I don't. No, please don't grab it. Thank you, ladies. I'm going to go back to the podium and start. Shiro, please come in. Thank you. And tell everybody else to come with you. Isn't it nice when I know your name? Isn't it nice when I know your name? So I will say good afternoon once again. I'm going to make sure that we finish the afternoon. I had so many things I wanted to do. I wanted to be Oprah and tell you to reach under your desk. I wanted us to play a game called Kahoot, and that is all out the door. I want you to do some shopping and to see the trade outside. So here's what I would like to do. The lady I would like to start off our afternoon with is she's actually a board member for Absa, Kenya, but she's from South Africa. Kendi Bone Matthew is here to kick off our afternoon, ensure that we're in the right frame of mind for everything we said we're coming here to receive. Ladies and the few very fortunate gentlemen in the room, please put your hands together for Kendi Bone. And while she's making her way up here, I'm just reminding you, Gibber Naturals and STEM, Green STEM, well done.
this stance was being done by these women was because we had just summited Mount Kilimanjaro a few hours prior to that. All 10 of us, and we did feel very powerful. We felt strong. We felt accomplished because we had set out to train for many months before that, and together actually succeeded in summiting that mountain. Now, it didn't feel like we were going to be able to do it. Through the 5 days that we were trekking through the mountain, we in fact later heard that there were bets around the other trekkers on the mountain that we were the least likely team to summit. Indeed, we used to arrive. That is the pose. We used to arrive the last at the camps. Every evening, we used to depart the latest because of aching knees and backs and all the bits of the body. And yet, together, we managed to do it. So why am I sharing this story? First of all, because I was one of those 10 women. And despite that our individual reasons for being on that mountain were as diverse as we were, we had one collective understanding that we couldn't have done it on our own. Secondly, it really brings to life for me an African proverb I love very much, and one that actually resonates with my own career and business journey so far. And I'm sure one that you know and also resonates with your journeys. It goes, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. So, of course, when the other speakers earlier, I think it was Emma, was talking about collaboration, I felt that is absolutely critical for women in business. I myself, having started a business, have always partnered when starting a business. It's not easy, however, it is a way to be sustainable and ensure that you're able to go far. Allow me to summarize, just briefly, before sharing with you some pivotal moments in my career and business journey, to summarize what I actually do. Many would classify it as a portfolio career. I'm an accountant by training. I have worked in investment banking. My current role includes that of, as an investment professional, managing a portfolio of investments for a private investment fund that I co-founded. I also serve on boards of companies, a number of boards specifically in the financial services industry, in banks, in fund management, and in insurance. I serve as an investment committee member in 2 venture capital funds, one which has a South Africa geographic focus and another that has a global VC tech fund. And then I also pursue opportunistically investments, particularly ones that have linkages between South Africa and Kenya. And I do that in partnership with various investors. From an early age, I've always been involved with many roles. And I've actually not included my main role, that of being a family member and a mother to 2 wonderful girls, a role that has stretched me equally to the roles that I do outside of the home, and one that I'm proud to admit is actually my favorite. So one may wonder how you balance this type of choice of having these kind of roles. And really, the way I've done it over the years is just always aligning to my values. And I'd like to share 2 of those really key values for me across my career journey as well as business journey. Those values have been family and freedom. Now, that can seem contradictory, especially in the context of the backdrop of traditional norms and some of the cultural norms that still exist for women in society, where it becomes challenging to balance those 2. Family, I won't describe, is self-explanatory. But freedom can mean different things to people. For me, it means having the freedom to make choices, the freedom of choice, to choose where I want to work, how I want to work, how I will be a contributing member of society. Earlier, there was also comments around being able to choose what customers you want to work with. That is absolutely part of freedom. Of course, once you decide that you want to have a value of freedom, you need to recognize that there are sacrifices that you would have made, you would have worked to earn those freedoms. So freedom is very important to me. I'm actually going to extend that with a bit of a story from my side, where when we were fundraising for the fund management business that I run, we had to make decisions at some point regarding whether we want to take capital from investors. So beyond just choosing what customers you want, it's important that you may have freedom to even choose what investors you want in a business. So if you look at the model that Absa has with the SHE proposition, a funder who is able to not only give capital, but give you a full suite of strategic support, including access to market and all the things that you're experiencing through this proposition, that's who you want to look for. So even beyond dealing with just the bank, because I don't expect that you're going to go to any other bank, of course, but at a point where you may be looking for investors that may take up equity and shares in your business, you want to be able to have the freedom to choose whose money you may want to take up. So it's very close to me as well, from a personal perspective, in that when I was younger, my own mother, who was a single parent of 4 children, didn't make decisions from a point of having a freedom to choose. And now I'm referring to financial freedom. I think for every single woman, it's absolutely critical that we build towards having financial freedom. So she didn't have enough resources to raise all of us and was forced to make a decision, not through choice, but to immigrate to another country, which had an opportunity for us to be educated for free so that she may be able to. So she's a nurse and moved to the UK. Of course, that was strategic, as all of us women are, but took much sacrifice. So I'd like to, in future, have the ability for all women to be able to be financially free. So here's a bit of a short story, once again, from earlier in my days, around how I've managed having this portfolio kind of inclination. And I think it prepared me to be an entrepreneur as well, because I was always inclined to be doing many different things and therefore learning different skills along the way. When I finished high school in the UK, I did start university, and much to my mother's dismay, I actually dropped out of the course I was doing, because I had very big clarity in my mind that I wanted to be a chartered accountant first and foremost. And the course I was doing just didn't seem to be serving for me. So what did I do? I sourced myself a scholarship back home in South Africa. I intentionally chose a university that does distance learning. This was me already creating flexibility and freedom for myself, because I knew I would want to work during my degree. So pretty much like remote working now. I was going to do my degree from wherever I needed to be. So on landing in South Africa, I would study during the week, and when I was not studying, I was doing various jobs, from being a sales agent on a call center, to being a waitress during the weekends, to being a cashier at a supermarket, throughout my undergraduate degree, and that's how I paid for the balance that was not covered. To illustrate some of aligning to your values of freedom, and in this case, financial freedom, I was involved in an unfortunate incident at the supermarket where I was working, where there was a robbery on one of the nights that I was on duty. I was sufficiently traumatized, of course, that I picked up the little bit of resources I had and moved to a different city. That is just illustrating, I'd already at that point recognized if you create a little bit of financial freedom, you have that flexibility. So fast forward to the beginnings of my experience on boards. I want to talk a little bit about that, because I always get asked, how did you start your journey on being on boards? Much later in life, after I had done my degrees, I had already worked in a number of countries, lived and worked in the US. At a point in time, also migrated back to the UK, lived and worked there, again, aligned to my values. That was for family reasons. I negotiated that I'd be able to move there with my work. Again, challenges came. I had the misfortune of losing my job during the 2008 financial crisis. And in making lemonade out of lemons, I decided to go back to school. And transition my career to move to the investment world. And that's where I decided I will then return back home. You can see there's been a lot of movement. And that's how you build to understand, where you may be best placed. The decision to move back home was twofold. It was because of family. We had come to a point where we desired to have children, and we knew we wanted them to be born and live on the continent, whether in South Africa or Kenya. And secondly, I knew that I could do most of the impactful investments on the continent. While I had every opportunity to stay in London, doing investments there, I knew that I wanted to impact with the work that I was doing. So on returning, the institution I was working with, asset management firm, biggest in Africa, investing in sectors like agriculture, education, healthcare, sectors that are close to my heart because that's where a lot of impact can happen. I simply started putting my hand up, whether it was the investment I had done or a colleague had done, to say, could I sit on the board of that company as a representative? Because on the investee companies, we need to have representation. Whether it's a solar manufacturing entity, I would say, could I sit as a representative? And started capacitating myself. That was maybe 12 years ago. And I saw the gap because there was a lack of capacity, and it was much easier for the institution to say, okay, go and learn a few things about governance and then go and sit on the boards. So I just kept taking it forward. At a point in time, I was serving on a number of boards, large and small, in different sectors. And when the time came for me to step out of corporate in order to do an entrepreneurial venture, I chose to retain some of those larger corporate boards so that I may still see the best practices and be engaged at those levels in the economy, as well as into the smaller businesses with which I now work. So that was my journey in going on to boards. I later took it a step further by pursuing a professional designation in corporate governance called a chartered director. A number of Institute of Directors around the world generally offer a program very much based on your experience on boards, experience in corporate governance, and it ultimately culminates in you being designated a chartered director. Now, this has served me very well in my entrepreneurial world. The business I do, as I say, is a fund management business. We essentially provide professional services of investing and managing funds on behalf of others, with the promise of sharing in the financial returns that we earn. So it is different in that at one point I was on the other side of the table, allocating capital, assessing businesses. The time I was fundraising, the challenge was sitting on the other side and realizing just how challenging it is. So my focus is always to look at businesses with the lens of investor overall. But a key part for me is usually around the governance and promoting that aspect. I want to say congratulations to Esmeralda for setting up and constituting your board. I think as you scale up and you diversify, it really does become critical. But I actually want to challenge you that even beyond the mentoring, to solidify your framework around who your advisors are. So as opposed to necessarily trying to constitute a board, because that may have certain regulatory implications for the people you're inviting on your board, but bringing on advisors, but looking at skills. We talked earlier, technology skills. We've already talked of financial skills, and certainly, again, referring to you, Esmeralda, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to pull the wool over your eyes going forward, because the board has that oversight role. It helps management to be accountable, and it's generally just a system, a framework by which you have rules of how your entity is governed, rules and processes that assist to manage the risks. And our MD, Abdi, earlier talked about our targets around gender equality. That is a passion area for me. On any board that I serve on, I naturally will serve on an audit and risk committee as well as an investment committee, but over the years I've capacitated myself to serve on any committee dealing with people matters, whether it's the remuneration committee, whether it's the nominations committee, for the sole purpose of ensuring that there is that discussion and representation on gender matters. gender parity, pay equality. And so I'm very happy when I hear that, our management is focused on the targets to get us back to the 50-50 levels we were at. So I just wanted to share that around boards and encourage that despite perhaps being at an SME level of the economy, it is critical that you plug the gaps. It's like putting the scaffolding for your business early on and making it custom fit. Doesn't have to be a big cohort of people, but you identify the areas. And I'm sure with many of you as people who do many things, quite similar to myself, you need to know the areas where you need support and oversight and the right expertise in. So I've shared quite a bit around the boards, and I just wanted to, perhaps in closing, I note my time, just touch on or build on one other thing. Around the comment made by the Honorary Commissioner, who's unfortunately left, the gentleman, I think it is absolutely critical that we do not leave the men behind. I've had the biggest sponsors in corporate, as well as our very first seed investor was a male. And if I can tell you on what basis he eventually crossed the line to invest seed capital into our business, was that he looked at us, he said, I've looked at your track record, you come as a team, we're backing the team, but ladies, I have 4 daughters, 2 of them in university. And based on how the market is right now, you don't only have the caliber and the track record, but I'm doing this because I need to change this for my daughters. So it's absolutely critical that we keep the men who are supporting women empowerment and business right there alongside us. With that, I'd like to just encourage entrepreneurs to go together, so find ways to collaborate, and to stay aligned to your values. You'll have more potential to have longevity in the business. It will give you endurance when you go together, and you may even be able to do whatever it is you're doing with much more ease. So all the best for us all reaching our highest heights, and I'm really glad to have been here with you today. One thing I will do, I saw another picture which made its way there. My little girl, who, if I may say, said, you don't dare embarrass me there. Do not do that wonder pose. So kindly, if anyone ever meets her, don't tell her I told you about the wonder pose on the mountain. Thank you. Thank you.
Incidentally, that power pose is important. If you ever have to speak in front of a group of people and you're not feeling great, do it in the mirror in the morning. Get dressed first, properly, and then do it in the mirror in the morning. It is actually crucial for me to mention something here about Kendi Bone. She's one of 4 of the board directors at Absa, and there's 3 female directors out of a total of 7 non-executive directors. That's 42%. Hello, Absa. Well done. So in the diversity space, Absa is very committed, extremely committed. I want you to do something. I have found out that a local publication has space for 4 businesses, well, 3. I will decide whether it's 4. Wait. 3 businesses to be featured. So I want 1 from Rwanda, 1 from South Africa, and 1 from Ghana. What you're going to do is you are going to make sure that this is where you go on X and tweet this. I want this opportunity now. What is your name? What's the name of your business? Your interview with that local publication happens in the next 30 minutes. So I'm giving you 3 minutes to put together that particular I want this opportunity. Okay? Tag Absa Kenya on Twitter or on Instagram. I want a business from Rwanda. Initially, I was going to tell you to get here, and then I knew I was going to have a stampede. I want 1 from Rwanda, 1 from South Africa, 1 from Ghana. Okay, sawa, 1 from Kenya. You got 3 minutes. You need to make sure, literally, you've got to say, I want this opportunity. My name is Caroline Mutoko. My business is this, and I am ready for the interview. It will happen within the next 30 minutes, so we'll contact you and ask you to go out to be interviewed about your business. Take the opportunity. Take the opportunity and toot your own horn. This is another thing women do not do. You know, this is about putting your hand up. It's like, yeah, I want the opportunity. So I'm giving you 3 minutes. Get that out there. The other thing I want is my pictures. You've taken pictures all morning. You haven't tagged us. Why? Absa on X, Absa on Instagram. We would like to be tagged in our pictures, please. And especially the ones you've taken with me. Okay, I really need you to tag us. Please, we want our pictures. We're feeling bad that you're not tagging us. So, have you finished taking advantage of the opportunity to toot your horn and let the world know about you? Because what I want to do now is hand over to Phyllis and Caroline Kemuto. And what they want to do is give us a session on strategically positioning your company for success in UK matters. And Africa, She Trades Hub countries, and by finding the niche markets and emerging sectors. I can tell you all quiet because you're like, we want this. Ladies, make your way to the stage, because even for this one, you know I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. This would be Caroline Kemunto. Yeah? And obviously, Phyllis Mwangi, ITC. Yes? Will you be joining me, or will Caroline speak first? Caroline will speak first. So I know I'm giving you a lot of work. Man, am I exercising your brains this afternoon. You thought lunch was for free. No such thing. No such thing. Caroline Kemunto.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all? Are you sleepy? Do you need an energizer at some point to keep you on your toes? I'll catch you on your word much, much later. So my name is Caroline Kemunto. I work for the International Trade Center. So when you're hearing, why Switzerland in the room? I promise you, I didn't come to gate crash. It's me and the team. We really needed to be here, so I thank the Absa team for having us here. I'm a market access specialist and also a professional skills trainer for the International Trade Center She Trades Initiative. And for today's session, like our MC just noted, we're going to focus on those 3 big questions. How can we strategically position our business for success? But how are we going to access those markets? And also, what are the niche markets and what are those key sectors? How are we going to reach those buyers? How are we going to reach those clients, right? That is the big questions we always get from women entrepreneurs. So right now, I just want to welcome to the stage our first speaker, Mr. Hussein, Jamal Hussein, who is the Regional Trade Advisor for East Africa from the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office. And he's going to share with us how we can access the UK market. Who wants to access the UK market? Where are those hands? Those hands are too few. Are you serious? We need to dream big. So I just want to thank Mr. Hussein for joining us and to give you the floor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jambo, habarieno. Sawa sawa. It's after lunch, I can tell. Okay, so yeah, many thanks. I'll be speaking to you today on the UK's preferential tariff arrangements, specifically our new developing countries trading scheme and the economic partnership agreements. So as I said, my name is Jamal Hussein. I'm joining you from London. So I work in the UK government's Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. I should firstly say a huge thank you to Absa Bank, Mr. Abdi Mohammed, Ms. Elizabeth Wasuna, for convening this excellent event. I've certainly learnt a lot from this morning's sessions and the session just now. So a huge thank you to Absa Bank. Also, of course, to ITC, who have obviously been working on the She Trades program for a very long time now. And it is by virtue of their efforts that we've been able to be brought here today, and of course the UK government support. So if I could just have a bit of a round for ITC, I think that'd be quite nice. Great. But last but not least, I want to pay tribute to all of the women entrepreneurs and businesses in this room. I've already heard from many of you and how you have approached getting into these niche markets, the challenges that you've had to face, and essentially how you've overcome them to be in this room today. So yes, I do want to pay tribute to you, and I would once again like to give a big hand of applause to every one of those women entrepreneurs in this room. Now to the crux of the presentation. So I thought it'd be helpful, although I'm speaking about the Developing Countries Trading Scheme and EPAs, which are our premier offer to African countries trading with the UK, I thought helpful to also quickly mention the broader aspects of our trade offer. So we do have, of course, aid for trade programs. We're investing ODA in Africa, across Africa, to build the capacity of governments and businesses to trade in the global market. Our Trade Center for Expertise provides leading-edge technical support to tackle challenges such as quality standards, export promotion, and of course, inclusion of women in trade. We also have a lot of work in the multilateral space. So we support member states at the WTO, the World Trade Organization, particularly African states who haven't yet acceded, like Ethiopia, but also other LDCs, least developed countries, so that they can negotiate on those trade platforms in the best way possible and with all the expertise and capability that they need to have. Finally, on regional integration, many of you will be aware of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. The UK government supports specifically the AFCFTA support programme, which aims to build the capacity of the Secretariat and member states to once again negotiate and implement the agreement, which, as we know, will include both goods, services, and other areas. So moving on to speak specifically about the DCTS scheme. It was launched last year on the 19th of June, so we're very soon coming to its one-year anniversary. It is the UK's simpler and more generous preferential trading scheme for developing countries. It benefits 65 countries in total, 30 plus of whom are within Africa, supporting over 20 billion of goods trade. And you can see from the slides, it was extremely well received. And hopefully, many of you in this audience are already trading with the UK using that scheme. But if you're not, this presentation, I hope, will be very useful. So in terms of the specifics, the Developing Countries Trading Scheme is one of the most generous trade preferences schemes in the world. As I mentioned, we're supporting 65 developing countries in total, 30 of whom are in Africa. And it offers, crucially, duty-free, quota-free trade on thousands of products, leading to £770 million worth of reduced import costs. So that's money that exporters and, of course, importers into the UK are saving simply due to this scheme. Why does the UK offer such a scheme? Well, it is our priority to support sustainable growth in all developing countries, including those within Africa, and this unilateral trade offer does just that. Of course, this also supports UK businesses to build supply chain resilience, diversifying their sourcing and benefiting consumers through improved quality and price. And finally, we know it's good business to be supporting and strengthening economic ties with all African countries as they develop in the future. I think there's a little bit of a delay, but the next slide will be helpful, so we'll just wait for it. Okay, so the DCTS has three preference tiers. There is the comprehensive preferences, which all LDCs, least developing countries, are eligible to trade under. What that means for those LDCs is that they trade with the UK with a tariff offer, meaning that 99% of all goods exported to the UK from those DCTS qualifying countries are duty and quota, so entirely tariff-free. So for those within this audience, I know that the Gambia, Rwanda should be trading, so exporters in those countries should be trading under the DCTS scheme by virtue of being least developed countries. But there are also many, many others. So Tanzania, DRC, we can name many more and we can provide you with that information. The next tier of preferences are the enhanced preferences. So for our Nigerian exporters in the room, this is what your country is eligible for by virtue of your economic status. And what that affords you is 92% of all trade to the UK being tariff and duty free entirely. So once again, huge benefits to your exporters. Finally, we have the standard preference tier. That tier doesn't affect any African countries, so we can move quite quickly on. So to give you a bit of an insight into the changes, as I mentioned, the Developing Countries Trading Scheme launched last year, and we made a number of changes that we thought would be useful to exporters and businesses. One is there are more tariff cuts. So we increased the numbers of tariffs that were reduced in the duties that would otherwise be applicable, to the tune of 150, more than 150 in fact. And those were particularly affecting enhanced preferences countries, so Nigeria, that I mentioned, as well as removing all nuisance tariffs. So those tariffs that were 2% or below already, we just removed them to support businesses. I've already mentioned the LDCs, so Rwanda, the Gambia, for example, already are eligible for entirely duty-free, quota-free access to the UK market, except arms and ammunition. So that's 99% of your tariff flows. So in that sense, we maintained our offer as it was previously, but we made some important changes to the rules of origin. And rules of origin, for those who don't know, pertain to your ability to use inputs into the goods that you ultimately trade with the UK from other countries. So in the case of LDCs, we have enhanced accumulation, which means that LDCs, the Gambia, Rwanda that I mentioned, but many others, are able to use the inputs of not only other DCTS countries, but also other EPA countries. And an example I have here that I think is quite interesting is an exporter in Ethiopia, could be Rwanda, could be any LDC, who is a soap manufacturer, could use the coconut oil from Nigeria, a member of the enhanced preferences tier, the alkaline salt from South Africa, an EPA trade member, and still export that good to the UK tariff and quota free. So we're supporting regional integration, which I've already heard is a real priority for a number of you in this room. We've also got a simpler and more generous product-specific rules for LDCs, whereby you're able to have non-originating content for the exports that you supply to the UK up to 75%, meaning that 75% of your goods can come from other countries, but assuming that the various product-specific rules are fulfilled, which we can speak to later. Finally, we created a clearer and a broader base for suspension. That means suspension based on international conventions, including those on climate change and environment. And we ensured that countries didn't have to sign up to those particular conventions, but they could move swiftly into that enhanced preference tier when they graduate to that level, so without having to do the extra bureaucracy. I thought I'd quickly just mention a few of the tariff savings in the context of Nigeria, an enhanced preferences country. I'm choosing Nigeria once again because the LDCs I've mentioned already get tariff-free, quota-free access to the UK. So in the case of Nigeria, what we've seen is 2.5% and 4.5% tariffs removed on cocoa butter and cocoa paste entirely. We've also seen 6.4% worth of tariffs on woven cotton, as well as all tariffs removed on woven apparel. And we know how important it is that not only the goods that are traded with the UK are raw materials, but also more complex products. So that would fill that category. Now on to the EPAs. So many of you in this room will be trading not under the DCTS terms, but under economic partnership agreement terms. So we have on the slide the list of our economic partnership agreements. These agreements they build on the DCTS scheme, and they have the same fundamental objectives in supporting trade and development with our partner states, and enforce a mutually, and try to promote a mutually beneficial trade relationship. So of the countries I know here from the She Trades hubs, we have South Africa, Kenya, Ghana, Mauritius, who all will be benefiting from our EPA provisions. The EPAs are slightly different from DCTS in that while they afford duty-free, quota-free access to the UK market, once again 100%, excluding arms and ammunition, they are reciprocal arrangements. So the UK commits to providing immediate duty-free access, but in return, those states that sign up to EPAs commit to gradual tariff liberalization on goods. So that liberalization can extend to between 80 to 98% of all goods that the UK exports. But as I said, it's gradual. So it doesn't immediately happen. There is a staged, gradual diminishing of the import duties so that countries can accommodate to the different trade terms that are being afforded. In Africa, currently, all our EPAs are goods-only agreements, but of course, FTAs could include services, investment, procurement. Some key EPA benefits. So I've already mentioned they afford permanent duty-free, quota-free access for those countries to the UK market. We think they're also important because they provide a positive signal to would-be investors seeking long-term security when they do invest in target countries. They also, importantly, exclude sensitive African goods from liberalization. So that means countries, when they sign up to EPAs, specifically choose to exclude goods that they think they are not ready simply to begin trading on more mutually beneficial terms. There are also safeguards that protect domestic industries should there be fluctuations in trade. And much like the DCTS scheme that I mentioned, with their rules of origin, with their flexible and generous rules of origin, EPAs also have similar but slightly different rules of origin provisions that afford generous cumulation with all other African, Caribbean, and Pacific states. Once again, allowing you as an exporter, if you're trading under the EPA, to use the inputs of different African, Caribbean, and Pacific states, as well as many other countries, in your product, and then export that to the UK duty and quota-free, encouraging intra-African free trade. Once again, there are certain provisions that a company will need to go through in terms of meeting the specific criteria around processing, but the offer is extremely generous. And finally, we have regular ministerial and official forums which support our trading relationships and any issues that may arise in the course of our trade. Some examples of benefits that EPA countries have seen from their EPAs. So South Africa, I very much enjoy South African wine. 134 million pounds of exports to the UK in 2022, which would have otherwise perhaps faced up to 20% of export tariffs. Instead, they were trading under the EPA at 0% tariff terms to the UK. So huge savings for businesses and the exporters. Ghana, similarly, with bananas, 10 million pounds worth of trade in 2022, a 0% tariff. But otherwise, as you can see on the screen, quite a large MFN tariff would have been imposed. And we have various other examples on the screen. I mentioned Kenya and cut flowers, but we've actually had a slight update since this. So as many of you may know, cut flowers are an extremely important export for Kenya, and indeed one of their top exports to the UK. They would have otherwise seen export tariffs being applied of 8%. But under the EPA, they are 0%. Once again, supporting businesses, particularly women engaged in those businesses who we know make up the majority of those workforces. As I mentioned, there's been a change in that our UK tariff has now been reduced to 0%, but it was having listened to businesses across the region, many of whom were trading to the UK via the EU and had seen the tariff of 8% being applied to their goods, despite the final destination of their goods being the UK. So what the UK did was we've suspended the tariff for 2 years, affording those businesses, ensuring that those businesses receive the 0% tariff. So it's an example of the EPA and our trade relationship changing depending on the facts on the ground, which, as we know, is very important. Finally, the slide you've all been waiting for. So now I have this information. Hopefully many of you are already trading under the terms I've mentioned, but in case you're not, where can you find out more information? So we have the Growth Gateway Scheme. That enables you, so the Growth Gateway Scheme is extremely important in that it supports two-way trade between the UK and all the African countries that I mentioned. It helps bring exporters to buyers and identify those and begin those relationships so that you can access the UK market. There are also promotional materials that are online already that you can access. So for example, as seen on the slide, we have business-friendly guides with step-by-step instructions on how you can use the DCTS scheme and make sure that you are filling out the right forms, that you're aware of the rules of origin. Equally, for the EPAs, we have dedicated EPA pages on the gov.uk website where you can find additional information about all the things I've mentioned in today's presentation, but to support you in your export journey to the UK. But of course, ITC and the Chi Trades hubs are important mechanisms for you to connect to knowledgeable people who will be able to put you in the right direction in terms of the UK offer. I've been told that we've got ITC itself has new export materials coming out very shortly in the handicrafts, textiles, apparel sectors to support businesses in those sectors export to the UK specifically, and they should be coming out fairly soon. But there are already publications available in a number of sectors. I hope that presentation was informative. As you can see, the UK's trade offer to African countries, both through the DCTS and the EPAs, is extremely generous, and I really hope it will help you take your businesses to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hussein. So I feel like all of these strategies and opportunities coming out of the UK are very inspiring, right? So I'll ask you again, are we ready to export to the UK? We're ready. Let's see those hands. Can we now clap for Mr. Hussein for sharing all of this information? So today we also focused on digitalization, and I wonder who's been using the Hoover app? Because I've seen some questions coming in, and I've seen 2 questions for you specifically. Let me just get them on. So, give me 1 second. You can see I'm not that tech savvy yet, but I'm there. So the first question for you, Mr. Hussein, is, which are the key areas you can encourage women entrepreneurs to target in the UK business arena?
Thank you. So I think it obviously depends on the sector that you're working in. So perhaps this question came from someone who's thinking about exporting to the UK and hasn't yet decided on what area that they want to begin trading. So I guess we have some tools that could be quite helpful. So the ITC has a trade map which unpacks, based on the country you're exporting to and the target country, so in this case the UK, what is the comparative advantage on what your country produces versus where in the UK there is a market need. And you can use that tool basically to identify areas that you are obviously therefore likely to be more successful in. So you'll use the ITC trade map tool, you'll go onto the website, and it will give you an excellent mapping across all sectors. So we're looking at goods, various goods, textiles, animal-based products. And that, I think, could be really helpful if you're just starting out in terms of trying to understand what products you might want to support to trade with the UK. I think you could also attack this question from a different angle, which is, what are the skills that I need in order to be effective to trade with the UK? And obviously that's not just the UK, that's with any market. And actually I'd probably draw inspiration from some of the conversations I've been having with yourselves today. So what I've heard is, challenges of social media, marketing, e-commerce. How can you upskill in your specific area so that you are presenting your brand in the best possible light, so that you are pitching to new buyers in a way that is most effective so that you can get the sales that ultimately we all want to see. I'd perhaps add to that around, if you are a more experienced trader, making sure that you're looking into a niche market. So if you can create a comparative advantage specifically in your area, be that through adding value, etc., that's obviously going to speak to the customer in the UK market on the shelves. They're going to look for your product because you offer something slightly different. That's a lot harder to do. So I think that's where it's really effective. The She Trades hubs, ITC, the Growth Gateway, we can support you on that journey.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hussein. I think that is it for the question and answers. And maybe just to build on that, you mentioned about the She Trades hubs, and I see here on the stage we have 9 different flags from 9 different African countries, right? And already from the She Trades hubs, we have 6 of them here. And we're going to be hearing from them on the spotlight on the She Trades hub. So I'm going to invite Nigeria, Mauritius, Rwanda, South Africa, Gambia to the stage. Please take the seats as we're going to prepare for the presentations. But just as we give them a warm welcome, so who here knows what a She Trades hub is? Do you know? I think we're going to hear from our regional coordinator who's representing East Africa and Southern Africa, our regional coordinator Phyllis Mwangi, and she will tell us a little bit about the She Trades hubs, and then we'll get to hear from our wonderful representatives behind us on how we can leverage on using those flexible rules of origin, how we can start using, let's say, materials from Nigeria, and then we make something in Kenya, and we can trade it easily to the UK. How wonderful is that, right? So welcome to the stage, Phyllis.
Thank you, Caroline. Let's give them a big hand.
Before Phyllis takes over, and trust me, she is we're taking over, I just realized that I need you guys to do something for me. You responded, and your interviews are happening in the next 10 minutes, and I don't know who you are. Zima Health, where are you from? You didn't tell us where you're from. Rwanda? Where's Zima Health from? Where are you from? I don't know where you're from. Rwanda, fantastic. So you're in. So Alice Ruingema, is that you? No, Rwanda? Sorry, Rwanda just went. Sally Rugano, New Point? Country. Kenya, okay, so we're on. Properties Limited? Country. Properties Limited, country. No? Okay, Salma Ibrahim, B-Week, Africa, country. Sorry, gone. Louise Baya, the working coach. Louisa Baya, Kenya, sorry mama. Waithera outside, you're Kenyan. You're called Waithera. Noreen, wedding planner at Nora the Planner. Kenya, nah, don't want you anymore. Okay, that's it. I got my people. You're gonna be famous. Cool. See ya.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon. How are we feeling? Great or what? Great. Okay, good. So She Trades Hubs is an initiative under the International Trade Center We started the She Trades initiative in 2016, right after the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, in 2015, and launched across the globe. Today, we have 18 She Trades hubs across the globe, 7 of which are in Africa. Yes, Makofi, Shangwe, Bigelegele. 2 of which are regional hubs. We have the Caribbean and the MENA hub. Those 2 are regional, but the rest are national hubs. What are we trying to achieve with the She Trades hubs? As I said in my remarks earlier, women need an extra push. True or not true? Okay? The global markets are calling. They are calling for African products, products from women, handmade. And that's what we do best, isn't it? But according to a World Bank statistic, maybe I should ask this as a question. I have a question for you. Quiz time. Quiz time. Get a partner next to you. Which continent has the highest rate of female entrepreneurship? Talk to the person next to you. Africa is like a no-brainer, right? I thought it was difficult. Africa, can you believe it? All right? And there's another statistic that the UN Women just did the other day that says women are accessing what percentage of global supply chains in the public sector? 2. Talk to the person next to you. Tell. How much are they accessing? Let me surprise you. Less than 1%. Yeah. Less than 1%. Greatest entrepreneurs in Africa. Global markets access less than 1% in public sector. So there's work to be done. So She Trades Hubs is a platform that we have created for you. Step on it. You're in Kenya, you need something in Nigeria, and we have that cross collaboration. And it's not just the hubs, it's the community of partners that we're able to attract, like Absa, like all the partners that are with us across the globe, quite a number of them. So we are hearing your voices, and we are understanding what you need, and 1 woman at a time, perhaps 5 women at a time, even better 10,000 women at a time, will create the enabling environment for you to succeed. Okay? So I'm going to give it over to our She Trades Hub representatives across Africa. Don't they look beautiful? Yeah, come on, give them a big hand. Okay, Caroline, you should have seen us fighting with Caroline. Should we do the Energizer? Should we not? Should we save time? Should we not? And she's like, let's just do the whole thing. So how about we do the whole thing? Is that okay? Can we do the Energizer? We do the Energizer. Okay. Do it, all right. Okay, let's get standing, upstanding on our feet. I think one thing Caroline Mutoko said today, we must have fun, right? Yeah, so let's have some fun. How many of you been to Japan? Say I. These amazing women. I have never been there. But I've learned a bit of the language because language is a connecting factor. So if you feel like scratching your knee, what do? You bend and you do what? Okay, then scratch your knee. Go ahead, scratch your knee. I'm going to lift mine up. Okay. So it means your knee is itchy. So everybody say itchy knee. Okay, let's go together. Itchy knee. The knee is itching. In Japanese, itchy is 1, knee is 2. Amazing. We're getting a language for global markets, right? So let's go together. Itchy knee. Okay, let's go to the next one. Where does the sun rise from? Let's assume from the east, right? Where is that? Right now I have no clue, but let's assume it's on this side. All right, so the sun rises from the east. Ichini, then we're going to point to the east and say, sun, and then get to the room and point to any woman, and there are plenty, and say, she, all right? So let's go, sun, she. Sun, she. Okay, let's count 1, 2, 4. Let's go. Ichini, sun, she. Aha, we're getting better. Now, if you're going very fast, women in entrepreneurship, moving very fast, you're going. So you go, and then you get a deal, you roku. Okay? Roku, it's like lock, but rock. All right, with a bit of a shrub. So let's go, Roku, let's go. Go, Roku. And you have to do the action. Let's go. Go, Roku. Shall we start from Ichini? All right. Ichi, san, shi, go, roku. Hey, give yourselves a big hand so far. So you've counted 1 to 6. No, I didn't say we sit. All right. During the rainy season, you start feeling the sniffles, right? And how do you sneeze in Africa? You're posh. All right. So we're going to go hichi. That's the posh version. All right. Hichi. And then there's the one you let go, which is hachi. So it's hichi and then hachi. Let's go. Hichi and then hachi. Let's go from ichini. Ichini, sanshi, go, roku, hichi, hachi. Hey, the last two. Now you can get deals in Japan, I promise you. The last one is, we look up. Where does an owl rest? On a tree, isn't it? So, and the sound of an owl is coo. Everybody say coo. And where is it? Jew. Swahili is up. Jew is Swahili, okay? So what's the word? Jew. And we're doing this. Jew. Can you count 1 to 10 in Japanese? Let's go. The last one. Ichini, sanshi, go, roku, hichi, hachi, Jew. Give yourselves a big hand and you may have your seat 1 to 10.
Are we energized? Are we very, very energized? Did we have fun? So, we're going to hear from our 6 She Trades Hub representatives, and I first want to welcome our She Trades Hub in South Africa, Ms. Leah Cherian. She's a specialist for the export program implementation at the Small Enterprise Development Agency. So welcome to the stage, Leah. I'm going to give you the clicker. I'm not a tech person, again. It takes time. Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and few gentlemen. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'm not going to bore you with the Kenyan greetings. I'm sure everybody has overworked it. Let me say Dumela from where I come from, Dumelang. All right. So we, from South African Hub, we've chosen 2 specific industries or 2 specific products or areas that we would like to focus on. So many of our clients that we've brought today, they're from the cosmetic industry, and we see that there is quite a prevalent rise of cosmetic and body products that is rising with the women entrepreneurs in the She Trades Hub. So we have chosen those, especially now that we've seen there's Ghana, there's Rwanda, Nigeria, and they're very well known for their shea butter and the essential oils. So we would like to explain the processes that are followed when it comes to bringing in shea butters and essential oils into South Africa. So firstly, the primary body that actually oversees the shea butter and essential oils would be the South African Revenue Service. However, there are departments that are helping or assisting SARS to ensure that you are compliant. And first of all, SARS is responsible for the customs clearance process, and they also ensure that all imported goods comply with South African import regulations and collecting the relevant duties and taxes. As our previous speaker spoke about the duties and taxes, there will be duties and taxes that you will be paying depending on the trade agreements that South Africa has with your respective country. So SARS will be looking into that. Then we've got the Department of Health. And this is for if you're bringing in the shea butter and essential oils, if it's for cosmetic use. So they will be looking at overseeing the regulations through the CTFA, that is the Cosmetic, Toiletry and Fragrance Association of South Africa. So this ensures that the product meets the safety and quality standards. And if it's for therapeutic use, like for your essential oils, the body that is responsible for this is the South African Health Product regulatory authority, that is your SAHPRA. And then we've got our South African Bureau of Standards, and they are involved in setting and maintaining the standards for various products, including cosmetics and essential oils, and they will be making sure that all your products meet the quality and the safety requirements. So if you're bringing in products for food use, if it's for consumption, you will be dealing with the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries. And they will be checking to see, for example, the shea butter that is imported for food use, whether it meets the safety standards and it's free from pests and diseases. So in summary, if you're bringing in products for the cosmetic use or for consumption of shea butter and essential oils, you will be dealing with, firstly, SARS for the customs clearance, import duties, compliance with import regulations, then the Department of Health, and that is to regulate cosmetic and therapeutic uses, who will be working hand in hand with the CTFA and SAHPRA, and SABS, who will be ensuring that the product is of quality, and DAF for food safety regulations. So the importers must also ensure compliance with the requirements of these regulatory bodies are met in order to have a smooth importation of shea butter and essential oils into South Africa. And the next sector that we focused on, or the industry that we see that is quite prevalent, is the textile and apparel industry. And the primary regulatory body overseeing the import of textiles into South Africa is again the South African Revenue Service. However, there are also other departments that assist SARS, and again, SARS will be responsible for the customs clearance process, including the collection of duties, taxes, and ensuring compliance with import regulation for textiles. Then we've got the Department of Trade, Industry, and Competition, and they are responsible, or they oversee the trade policies and regulations. They are responsible for implementing trade agreements, import controls, ensuring that imported textiles comply with the South African trade laws. Then we've got our South African Bureau of Standards again, and they will be checking to see whether the textile products meet the quality and safety requirements. Then we've got an agency called ITAC, that is the International Trade Administration Commission, and ITAC usually administers import permits for textiles. They enforce the quota system and implements anti-dumping measures to protect the local textile industry in South Africa. So in summary, SARS manages the customs clearance, duties and compliance with import regulations. The DTIC oversees trade policies, import controls and compliances with trade laws. SABS to ensure textile meets quality and safety standards. And lastly, ITAC, who will be administering the import permits, quotas, and the anti-dumping measures. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Leah. So here we've seen we want to now start importing into South Africa, but we're always missing key market information, right? And without knowledge, we don't really have power. And this is the main aim for today's session. We want to see, if I want to now go to Mauritius, what is their main need? What products are they searching for, and how can I reach that market? And this is where our representative for the Shooties Mauritius Hub, Ms. Kiran Bahadur, will now share with us about how we can enter Mauritius. Thank you, Kiran.
Thank you, Caroline. So, Jambo, greetings from Mauritius, and we are really happy to be here today. So, the EDB, the Economic Development Board of Mauritius, is on top of being the institution for investment promotion and export promotion. We are also hosting the She Trades Hub. So, we found that eventually Mauritius is a population of nearly 1.3 million people, and we are a net importer of food products. So there is plenty of opportunity for food, fruits, and dairy products to enter the Mauritius market. Just to give you a snapshot, we believe in the African market, and not only export, but also our import in the African region have increased. From 2019 to 2023, we have an increase of 54% of import. So, I mean to say we are importing from the region, more from Africa. And the tendency is more like going for food, fruits, and dairy products. There are lots of interest for that, so if you are interested to penetrate the Mauritian market, you will have to have the clearance from the AMB. Of course, it's related to health issues, the consumer health, and other, health issues and the welfare of the citizen. So you will need to have the clearance from the AMB, the Agricultural Marketing Board, and also phytosanitary certificate from the Ministry of Agriculture. Not to mention that you need to pass in the custom, okay? So this is where the MRA gets in, right? And just to give you statistics on our import for the food and the dairy products, it's like $188.46 million. So we are a small market, but there is potential. We are a net importer, so I believe that we can do more. Though we have increased the trade within the region, we believe there is potential for more. The next market we've seen is textile. We are known to produce quality textile products, but we are also an importer of raw materials. So when we buy textile yarn and fabrics, it's mostly for to export to the US and to the European market. So from there, of course, you will need the clearance from the Ministry of Commerce. And of course, all the custom clearance goes through the MRA, the Mauritius Revenue Authority. And on top of that, because we are exporting to specific market, like the AGOA, so we need to have the rules of origin, the certificate of origin, so this is very important, to certify that our products have quality raw materials. So this is where really the certificate of origin comes in. So just to cut it short, if you want to do business with Mauritius, the EDB is the platform, and on top of that, the Mauritius Trade, and we have also the Mauritius Trade, we have an online platform, the Mauritius Trade Easy. It's mauritiustrade.mu. You just need to find out your HS code and you will get all the clearances that you need to go to Mauritius. Because all these are sectors, but maybe you have specific, a line of products with specific HS code. So we have found a solution for all those who want to trade with Mauritius. Go on the platform, plug in the HS code, and you will have all the clearances clearly defined. But we'll be most happy to assist you in case you have any query or anything that you may need to do business with Mauritius. So quick, but I think it's concise, and I will be available for any query you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kieran. It's so amazing that we have very powerful people seated up here who can assist you to do trade, right? And now I just want to welcome to the stage Ms. Efua Yeboah from the Ghana Export Promotion Authority to share with us about the She Trades Hub in Ghana.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Efua Yeboah. As she said, I'm with Ghana Export Promotion Authority. And GEPA, Ghana Export Promotion Authority, as the host institution for the Ghana She Trades Hub, is defined by its commitments to empower women-led businesses through inclusive trade development and capacity building. Okay, so two markets that is thriving in Ghana are the agri-produce markets and the industrial arts and crafts markets. So in assessing the agri-produce markets, the PPRSD, Plant Protection and Regulatory Service Directorate, ensure that the produce gets their phytosanitary and sanitary certification. the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, as well as the Environmental Protection Agency, ensure compliance with Ghana's agricultural regulations. The Food and Drugs Authority, as well as the Ghana Standards Authority, also see to food safety certification, traceability, and labeling. For the arts and craft industry, there are industry standards and regulations that these arts and craft makers have to comply with, as well as regional and continental trade protocols, such as the AFCFTA and the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme. Also, I want to say that in this year, our CEO, Dr. Ifa Asabiasari, the first, she launched a Dinkra International Art and Crafts Fair, which is aimed at sharing knowledge and inspiration whilst championing authentic African arts, crafts, home decor, jewelry, and textile products. Yes, so this initiative also gives the chance to meet big players in the industry. Okay. And GEPA also has other initiatives that are aimed towards developing women in their businesses as to grow. So some of the initiatives are the Ghana Export School, which is a school, is a program where women-led businesses are taken through fundamental or intermediate courses just to promote them or give them the guidelines when it comes to exporting their products, or just know the export markets, which markets are suitable for their products, or which markets they can create for people coming into Ghana to come and do business also. So it gives them that opportunity to learn and then improve themselves in the country as a whole. So I'll just end here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Efua. We're really trying to see how we can make it easy to do business within the FCFTA. And by having everything streamlined, let's say, for example, having the Ghana Trade House in Kenya, we also have a Kenya Trade House for the FCFTA, how we can leverage these opportunities to make it easy to reach these markets. So I want us now to just do a quick group discussion for 3 minutes. Do you know who your neighbor is? You know them? So I want you to just ask each other, what have you learned? Just by these 3 presentations so far, what have you learned? What markets have you seen that is lucrative for you to enter for the African market? And then I want you to ask them a random question. If you were a color, what would you be today? Okay? So these 3 things. Which markets do you want to enter? Which products have you noticed that are very lucrative for you? And if you're a color, what would you be? 3 minutes. There's a question. Perfect. Great. Yes,
So do you also advise your people to have these certificates? ECOWAS certificate?
Tuendelee ama tusiendelee? Tuendelee? Okay, I'm gonna just grab your attention now. So whatever you've discussed among yourselves, and also whatever questions have come up, do you remember that Hoover app on your phone? I want you to post your questions on the Q&A session, and then our speakers are going to answer them on the Q&A part. But now I want to welcome us to the stage the representative for the She-Trades Hub in Rwanda, Ms. Annette Benegusenga, the head of the Private Sector Federation Specialized Cluster. So, Ms. Annette, you can please take the stage.
Thank you, Kalale. Good evening. I think I will not say my name. Already Karen said my name. So I'm from Rwanda Hub. So we choose only two markets. One was for manufacturing of iron and steel products. What do you need to do that business in Rwanda? The requirements, how do you access the market? First of all, you need to have the certificate of origin. And then if you are in ESC countries, then you need to have ESC certificate. And if you're in COMESA, then you need to have a COMESA certificate or FCFTA certificate for you to to access some of the tariffs to be applied. And then the second market, it is in agribusiness. It is about, we choose vegetable fats, oils, and other oils that are made in sunflower seeds oil, that is olive oil, oils in coconut oil, and others. Yes, we know we have some of the companies that are making these oils in Rwanda, like Zima. We have some of the companies here and others, but we are still importing these oils. Of course, for you to access the market in Rwanda, you need to have the certificate of origin, certificate of analysis from manufacturer, from exporting country. If you're exporting it from Ghana, of course you need to have this certificate. In our country, we have the government body that is in charge, that is Rwanda Standard Board. So I think in your countries also you have the same institutions that are mostly looking at the quality assurance. So you need also to have the same ESC certificate if you're in ESC countries, COMESA and FCFTA for Africa, Free Continental Free Trade Area. So Rwanda is our coming country, especially in terms of business. So we have government institutions that are in place that are there to support if you want to invest in Rwanda or if you want to bring your products in Rwanda. There is, if it is consumable products, we have Rwanda Food and Beverage FDA, so they help you, and Rwanda Standard Board is there to also to help you to acquire those required certificates. If you want also to to start your company or for the investment, Rwanda Development Board also is ready to help you. So there are other certificates according to the clients. You can also acquire the import license, import visa, and other related certificates. Thank you very much.
You know, I'm learning so much. What I've noticed is, let's say for South Africa, it depends on the agreements your own country has with Kenya, right? But with Rwanda, they're using the regional economic communities. If you're in COMESA, if you're in the East African community, with the FCFTA certificate. So everyone has different strategies on how to help you import. And I hope you're taking down these notes. You're also taking down those contact information that has been shared on the PowerPoint, and we'll make sure that you also get those PowerPoint slides so that you can contact our great representatives behind me. And now I just want to welcome to the stage the representative for the She Trades Hub in Nigeria, Ms. Ngozi Ibe. She's the Deputy Director for Export Inclusiveness, Women, Youth, and Special Needs. Welcome, Ngozi.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Greetings from Nigeria, a population of 220 million people. So if you want to do business with us, you must be ready to capture at least 1% of that market. So Nigerian Export Promotion Council is a She Trades Nigeria hub hosted by NEPC. And we are the federal government's agency for the promotion, diversification of non-oil exports from Nigeria. For us, we selected two markets that you can come into. One is the ICT, the digital space. Dealing with 220 million people, it's not it's serious business. So for us, if you have that opportunity to key into this ecosystem, the digital space and the ICT, you're welcome. So, but that space is not so regulated. We have 2 agencies, depending on where you want to plug in. We have the Nigerian Communication Commission, and we have the National Agency of the National Information Technology Development Agency, that's NITDA, to deal with in that space. So, but we can do the connection for you. Secondly, we looked at the agro-processing sector, where we're looking at the dairy sector and the rice. Remember, we have a huge population to feed. So if you're ready to do business, contact us. My information is on the screen. Thank you.
Nigeria did not come to play. If you're ready to do business, you contact Ms. Ngozi. You've heard that. Last but not least, I want to welcome to the stage the representative for the Gambia Hub, Ms. Musu Sise. Please, Musu, welcome to the stage. You're on this side, sorry.
Thank you. I guess we save the best for last. Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Musu Sise. I'm from the Gambia, the smiling coast of Africa. I work for the Ministry of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment, a very cross-cutting ministry. This is where the hub is hosted, and I am the coordinator for the hub. So after some thought, having our entrepreneurs in mind, the 2 products that we thought would have a big impact, a huge market, is in packaging, is in textiles and packaging materials. We don't have an industry for these, so we export both of these mostly from Asia and recently from Senegal. So as you can imagine, it's a huge market because our products have to be packaged, so this is always in demand. Regarding these 2 products, I'll be talking about both of them together because there's no specific access requirement to enter the market regarding textile and the packaging materials. What you will need, however, just in case you want to establish a business, which we are advocating for, we want investors, you would have to register with the Ministry of Justice. If not, then you could be a supplier, but like I said, we'd rather have you invest. So the Ministry of Justice to register the business, and also you will have to know our local customs regulations, which the authority is the Gambia Revenue Authority. All of these are placed on websites online. You can go online and have more information regarding these. You'd also need a certificate of origin from the Gambia Chamber of Commerce. Again, you can contact us or get online to get more info regarding these. And lastly, our Standards Bureau. Like I said, there's no standard or access requirement, but the Standards Bureau could be of help and support regarding the designs that you would need, the standards, because we'd be exporting to the international world, so you would need the Standards Bureau for support when it comes to design, quality, and standards. So to conclude, we're very small. I think we're the smallest in West Africa. We are about 2.93 million people. So apart from the textile and the packaging materials, we're urging all of you to do more research to be able to invest in any products or sector that you have interest in. We're open for business. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sise. So we've heard that there's not so, you don't need to, you said you don't need a specific standards. You don't need specific standards for the Gambia, which is really great, and you already have the support of the Ministry of Justice, but also the Standards Bureau, so you can learn how you can align your product and your packaging so that they'll be able to export internationally. So I've seen some questions on the app, but I'm going to save question and answers for a bit later. I want us to just go back to our group discussions. From the 3 hubs that have just shared with us, which key products or key sectors have jumped out to you? Just discuss among your groups, and then if you have questions that you want to specifically ask our country hubs here, please post them on the question and answer session on your Hoover app, and then we will address them. So 3 minutes again, and then we'll do Q&A. Sounds good? Sawa sawa? Sawa sawa. Okay, so I've noticed that we have one question that I'm going to pose to our speakers here. The question that was asked on the Hoover app is, what strategies have you found to help women effectively identify and enter niche markets or emerging sectors in your hub country? So you can let us know, whoever wants to take this question, please feel free.
Thank you for this question. The first thing that I would like to inform all our clients or our SMMEs here is to do a market research. And that is where many of our SMMEs are failing. I mean, we've had instances where clients were taken to Russia with gin when we know that Russians drink vodka. So that is where the biggest failure happens. But from a government and a business support organization perspective, how can we strategically make ourselves available and assist clients would definitely be based on the trade agreements that we, South Africa, would have with other countries. And then secondly would be also and this would be something that you really need to consider, is getting into supplier development programs within your country. And that would develop you, ensure that you are compliant for international standards. And if your organization or the company that you've done the supply development program for is in more than one country, you will naturally be able to export your products based on the presence of that corporate company in other countries also. So you need to study the market, number one, look at where your products are needed. And even if a product is needed, as much as we love Africa, we want to trade within Africa, you need to look at the logistical aspects also. It's quite a costly affair, having to take products all the way from South Africa right to the western part of Africa, or even the northern part of Africa. It's not easily accessible. So all of the logistics, your risk, all of that takes into play when you're making an informed decision on which market should I look at. So, I mean, a simple thing as my Gambian counterpart who traveled from Gambia to Kenya, it took her almost 2 days to get here. So imagine products that we are taking to other countries, what a long feat it would be having. So look at those kind of logistical hindrances that you would be facing, and also see where your product is needed. That is the main thing. We've got, they said 9 countries here. Your product may not be needed in 9 countries. Look at specific countries where your product can make a difference and where you see sales increasing for you.
Thank you so much, Leah. One more speaker wants to take that question, and then we close this discussion.
Yeah, so just to wrap up on what Leah said, totally agree on her. The connectivity and the logistic is a big issue in Africa, so we really need to be prepared for that. Especially wherever you are. I'm taking the case of Mauritius, so you need to take into account the logistic part as well. On top of that, I would say that for Mauritius, if you want to enter the market, we do have platform. So you have already done your market research. You know that there is, you know your HS code. You know that there is eventually you fall into these categories, and you feel that okay, let me try. Okay, so we are here to help you. And on top of that, we have this portal, the Trade Mauritius portal. You know your HS code. Plug in your HS code. You will have all the certificate that is required. But this comes at an advanced stage. When you are ready to export, you have already done your market research, you are willing to do business. So this is where this platform comes in place. Another important tool is the ITC market access tool. You can make use of this tool as well. Say you know your HS code, you want to see if there is demand, potential demand, or potential market entry for any, I mean to say, it's not only for Africa, it browses globally. So you can eventually make use of this tool. It's a wonderful tool. Make use of it. So maybe as a support organization, we'll try to give more training on how to use the ITC market access tool. It's a wonderful tool. Make use of it. It's free of cost. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much. Can we give a big, warm round of applause for our speakers today? Thank you so much for coming all the way to Kenya to share with us. No? Oh my God, yes, you do.
So, here's the thing. In a moment, I'm going to give the podium to somebody whose way of life is take command. I like the way you smile at me like, are you kidding me? But what I'd like to do right now is ask the Absa Director Global Markets, Stella Mambo, to come on stage and gift to my amazing speakers before they run away. And while they are doing that, I want to ask you to do something for me. Could you take a selfie with the person next to you and tag us? Just the person next to you. Please, 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 please. I'm going to take a selfie with you, Caroline. Can we do 2 Carolines? Yes. So where's Stella? There's Stella. Stella, let me help you do that, and then Caroline and I will take a selfie. And then, do you have a neighbor there at some point? Great. Take selfies, quickly. Give everybody a bag, and then we'll take one picture, all of us. So you can make yourselves up on the chair. Thank you so much. Really great. Fantastic. Take this out of your way. Oh, it's yours. Okay, great. So Caroline and Caroline are taking their selfie. What are the odds? What were the odds? No, both of us. Oh gosh, I gotta have one. Because there might be a gift for the first 5 people. We took a good one. I don't know about you. Shall we do it on yours? Okay, yeah, on this side, yes. Caroline is busy trying to make friends with me. Okay. Done. Woo! Done. Somebody has asked about Kenya. Yes. Somebody asked who's the hub representative for Kenya. Who is?
So Drum roll, please. The hub, the host of institution for the She Trades Hubs is actually Absa Bank Kenya. Can we give them a big round of applause? They have done an amazing, amazing job to bring us here together. And on day 2 tomorrow, you're going to have a whole session just dedicated on the Kenyan export market. So this is why we didn't want to spoil it for you. This is why we did it for tomorrow, okay? We didn't miss them on purpose. So I'll give this to you, Caroline. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Ladies and the gentlemen here, what is this? Okay, I'm just going to keep it here. I'll put it in my pocket. I want us to finish this day and this afternoon with a lady who I met how many years ago? Almost 10 years ago, I think, to be honest. Her job actually requires her to take command. We live in a world where every time the word female is added to a title, it creates a surprise. Female surgeon, female pilot, female head chef. There's a surprise, and I've never understood why. And I've always said I want to live in a world where my daughter is not surprised to hear female anything. Okay, she's Kenya's first female marine pilot, and she joins a world of marine pilots, and she is a first among equals, because I do not believe there's any other African sometimes on the crew with you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Captain Liz Marami. Captain, take command, because that is literally what they tell you. Oh, by the way, if for any reason you feel your high heels don't allow you to be seen, I will give you the handheld. You're good?
Yes, I'm good.
Because she's pint size. Okay, take command. Okay. What's this?
Good afternoon, everyone. I wouldn't think, if you saw me saying head to starboard, you wouldn't imagine I'm so nervous up here. But nervous is good. That's what I learned in this industry. Now, I remember when I told my dad that I will be coming for an Absa conference, his reaction was, Absa, you? And I'm pretty sure most people, you successful entrepreneurs who are here, will also think, like my overthinking brain, I am no entrepreneur. And so, when my dad posed that question, if you know me, or rather by the end of this, you would know who I am someone who does not like being challenged. If you challenge me, I'll go down that rabbit hole. And so I went down that rabbit hole. And this was the definition that I got. That was actually my favorite definition. Because I would tell you, I'm not an entrepreneur. I couldn't hold a lemonade business when I was 6, so I'm not an entrepreneur. However, this was my favorite definition. It says, entrepreneurship is when an individual who has an idea acts on the idea, usually to disrupt the current market with a new product or service. And the word here is disrupt. And I knew I am the business. So I went back to my dad and I told him, I am the business. And that's why I'm here today, to share my story on how my goal went from wanting to just leave my parents and enjoy life abroad when I got a scholarship, to disrupting the whole maritime industry and showing them that it was about time they had people who look like us in the industry. Now, this journey started way back in 2009. Please don't count my years. I promise I'm young. When I got a scholarship to go to Egypt and study for my BSc in nautical science, I was giddy about being in my early 20s and starting my life on my own from the not so then gentle parenting. I was excited for the freedom. Little did I not know that I was about to be forced with challenges that were completely unheard of. Now, I come from a family of 4. We are 3 girls, and there is a boy at the end, but the focus is on the 3 girls. So the 3 girls were raised by a pediatrician and a school head teacher. And gender was never something that was defined when roles were given. So I still went up and fixed the aerial when the TV was not working. Again, I know it's a digital era, do not count my years. Still washed the car, still went to the farm when my parents decided they wanted to go to the farm. So gender for me was not something that the roles were not defined by gender, neither was how I looked like defining what I was at that time, until I found myself in a class in Egypt, whereby not only was I the only female in that class, but the color of my skin was shouting. Now, during that time, I used to raise my hand up and I would say, I have a question. But I could notice I used to be ignored all the time. And the Chinese whispers that were there were, they're only here to look pretty in their uniform and fill the diversity gap. And that's when my mission changed. That freedom I wanted, away from the not so gentle parenting of then, became a mission to disrupt the industry, to be known, and to ensure that they realize I'm not just here to fill a gap, but I'm here to show them that I'm better than what is there. 2013, I ended up graduating amongst the top in my class. If anything, I remember being told I'm seated on the wrong seat. And I looked at them and I told the man, I think the question you should be asking is, what's my GPA? And that standing ovation that I got as I walked up to pick up my unlimited second officer license was something that made me realize that the journey had just begun. I was going to change this narrative. And I went on, came back home. Now, I've got to explain to you how this industry works. For every license, you have to work at sea. Just like airlines, you have to have hours, working hours. You have to work at sea and foreign going or ocean going for it to be an unlimited license. So, I didn't think it was a brainer, so I decided to come back and start applying for jobs. 200 rejections later, I realized nobody's going to hire me because the answer was the same. We don't hire women, we do not hire women from Africa. I ended up landing a job and I was working as a marine pilot under the supervision of a senior pilot. Then I took a look at the structure and I realized my second officer license will not have me sitting on the tables with the big boys because they had the unlimited master mariner license. But I needed to go back to sea. And how was I going to do that? I was going to make sure we were being heard. So I started what we call a digital storytelling platform called Against the Tide, Women Going Against the Gender Tide. And boy, did I tell stories of women across the world. I did not fear nothing or no one. I was going to tell them as candidly until we were heard. And during that time, I noticed something. I noticed on the front page of the national newspaper that the Kenya National Shipping Line was getting into partnership with the Mediterranean Shipping Company to recruit hoteling seafarers. And I was angry. I was angry because there was a narrative that was going around that I was the first female marine pilot, which is true, but here I was trying to beg for sea service to work on board international ships, and I did not know of this opportunity. The next morning, fueled by adrenaline, because because that's all I can say, I found myself in the Ministry of Transport. And I asked the same thing that I said now. I have this ask, and I'm not included. You need to change this narrative. It's not just about hoteliering, but I can drive that thing. I walked out of that office, not sure what I had done to my life, but I will tell you that I did shake some tables, because the next day I got a call from Sorrento, Italy, and I was hired to work with with MSC Cruises. But that's not where it started. They made me start as an intern, a cadet. So my sea service wasn't counting. But you know what? I was desperate. I was so desperate, there was nothing that was going to stop me. I said, I just need to set foot there. And once I set foot, they're going to know who I am. I got sent to France, where I was able to be one of the people who started a new build, one of the largest ships then. And during that time, the captain came to me and told me, I don't understand why you're a cadet. I told him, I have a license, Captain, promote me. And they told me, fine. Are you going to go home and rest and then come back as the third officer? And I said, yes. I had been on for about 9 months, so I was like, yes, I'm going to go home and rest. And I came back as a third officer. And then my sea service started counting. Now here I was knowing that I'm going to go up into getting the license that I required. And during that period, while I was working as a third officer, I got approached by one of the largest cruising industries, the Royal Caribbean Group. And the Royal Caribbean Group not only offered me a higher position, they told me that they heard of me through the disruption I caused with the stories I told of women who required equality in the industry. We were changing the narrative. And so were our conversations being held in the International Maritime Organization, such that today we have an International Women in Maritime Day. I joined the luxury line Celebrity Cruises under Royal Caribbean Group, where I joined as a second officer. And that was in the year 2020 during the pandemic. Every contract after that, I just got promoted. I got promoted to a first officer. Then I got my sea service, and it was time for me to go and start getting my next license, which was my chief officer license and captain under 3,000 gross tonnage license. And like I say, I wanted to prove the world. So I went to the most prestigious merchant marine academies to get the most prestigious merchant marine license, because I was going to show them that it's not about how I look. The brain is there. So I got certified in the United Kingdom. So I got certified, and I came back as a first officer on board Celebrity Cruises. And let me just say that I got to work with the first female American cruise ship captain. And these were just mere dreams that I had back then, until someone told me I could not. And then I was like, you watch me. You just watch me. Last year, I got promoted to chief officer when the ship was being taken to what we call dry dock. Now, dry dock is when the ship is being taken out of water, and they're going to start doing the maintenance that they need to do after 5 years. This was the first time for this prestigious class of ship to be taken, and to be promoted to chief officer deck. It was a big thing, such that they made my male counterpart hanging around for another 5 days just to see if I can do the job. Not only did I do the job, I went above and beyond. And those are some of the pictures of us in dry dock. And so I just got off one of the newest ships that we have as the Chief Officer Navigation. I moved from deck and I went now to navigating. And as the Chief Officer Navigation, I had so many roles. And today I'm only 2 months shy of completing my sea service to attain the unlimited master license, the highest certification in the master merchant marine. And one way I can describe myself is resilient. The journey will not always be easy. Yes, now I sit in rooms where my opinions are hard, but that doesn't mean the journey has come to an end. I still am called Sir when they call the Chief Officer Navigation number. Good morning, sir. And I was like, no, it's ma'am, with so much grace. And they will still greet the first person who was probably a lower rank than me when they walk into the bridge where all the business happens, just because of how I look. But again, that doesn't take my eyes away from the prize. I'm not set at their disrespect. I'm set at disrupting this market and making people realize that someone who looks like me can and will command that $1.3 billion ship one day, because I am the business and I stand on business. Thank you.
I know. Okay, I'm going to call Lydia Karanja, Director of Transactional Banking, to come and gift Liz. I won't even stand in this picture. I mean, what's that ship worth again?
$3 billion.
Okay. We're all going to go home and ask ourselves, what's stopping us? I know. She's just... Captain. Well done, Captain. When you're getting selfies with her, remember to call her Captain. Yeah? I knew her when. Gosh. She was fighting to get to sea when I met her. And also, let's be honest, we were all almost ready to give you any other job. Yes. Because we were like, she'll never get hired. Captain. What do you want? Without the bag. Okay, this one you guys get to do. Yeah. Oh, bag Absa. Ladies and the few lucky gentlemen in the room, I want to bring this day to a close. Clap her all the way to her seat. Oh, wow. You know, I would not have thought that this is how we end this day. You are going to be a subject of conversation today, tomorrow, with our daughters and our sons. And I think for me, it's to listen a bit more when our children are trying to do the impossible. I have been inspired. You have made this job so interesting for me. I remember when Absa told me they wanted me for 2 days, I was like, can we stand each other for that long? But to be honest, I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm hoping you have been inspired. I hope you will be an inspiration to others. And I'm hoping whatever it is you've learned today, you put it to use. You see, knowledge, we say, is power, but we're a little wrong there. It is the use of that knowledge that is power. Go forth, be inspired, inspire others, and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning at 8:30 for breakfast.
Please make sure you go to all the trade stands, buy something. Those who know me know I'm going to be walking out like this because I shopped, but I shopped before all of you because I did not want to shop with you. You would run me out of town. Okay, so my favorite spaces obviously are this side because I toured that side in the morning and I can't wait to see what else we have going on. Ladies, you've been awesome. Gentlemen, thank you for sticking with us. To the great team from IMG, thank you for literally getting my IQs more than anything else. And please have an amazing evening. Look after yourselves and see you tomorrow. Take care. Okay, for all the event organizing team, I need you on stage for pictures, please. Anybody wearing the organizer tag? That's it. The rest of you, continue having fun. Event organizing team, you're required on stage for pictures.
Wave Beats Music.